So welcome back to the channel. In a previous video, I went on a parts hunt and I wound up picking up an Alienware X51 R2 along with a whole bunch of other PCs, and it was a really good deal. I was able to flip a good chunk of them, make some money, recoup what I spent, plus profits. But I still have this PC and it's been sitting around the garage for way too long, and finally today I'm able to dive into it. So in that video, we did take a quick look at it, but the computer seemed to have some problems. It was giving me some weird graphic glitches, or it wouldn't give me a display. I didn't dive too much into it. A bunch of viewers made comments saying that possibly the graphics card was bad, the board was bad, a whole bunch of different things. In this video, we're gonna take this 13-year-old classic PC, which, I mean, at the time, this stuff was pretty cool. i7, 4th gen, a GTX 7 series, 6 series, depending on the flavor that you got, and try to revive it. I'll call it Alien Resurrection. So let's go ahead, let's pop this on the bench and find out what's wrong with it. Can we fix it? No parts required, cheap. Does it still even work? And if so, how well does this thing hold up years later? Let's get started. Let's pop her on the bench. Place your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is possibly wrong with this? Maybe there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not sure, but we need to figure it out. So it's been a while since I tinkered with this, and oh wow, there we go. Finally remembered how to open it up. Now it did have, I think, like a 6500 graphics card, which maybe it's a little too much for it. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. Now, how does this come out? Like that. Now, let's see, does this, there we go. Remove it like so. There we go. RX 6500 XT. Think this is the 4 gig. Probably. Not 100% sure with the AMD flavors of this. And it is the Phantom Gaming by ASRock. I really do hope this graphics card is still good. But all right, so where to start? Now it did come with, it was either a 500 gig or 1 terabyte SSD. I've went ahead and, you know, repurposed it, cannibalized, if you will, for another project, or I think for another flip, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. This, how does this even stay on there? Oh wow, I think this is like, yeah, they put some tape on it. Okay, kind of cool. All right. Not sure if we'll be able to use that again, at least adhesive. Let's see what else we can kind of remove. And what I'm trying to do is look for like obvious signs of something being damaged. Just delete on the optical drive. Ooh, it's got a little itty-bitty fan. Okay. We do have our connectors for our graphics card. SATA. I really don't see anything that suggests that we have damage of any sort. So I say, let's fire it up. No pun intended. See what it does. And we're gonna fire it up without any graphics cards. So that should be all we need. Oh, I think the power button's up here. Yep. Got the red lights. She was angry. Okay, so that's a good start. We had display, which I think in the first video, I'll have to rewatch it. I didn't have its display when I plugged in the graphics card. Maybe she's not working, or maybe this thing doesn't have enough juice to power it up. So what I want to do is make sure that this thing is able to power a dedicated graphics card. So we're going to use the trusty and faithful GT1030 because it doesn't require any supplemental power, and see if we get into the screen. But before we do that, let's go into the BIOS. So we have 16 gigs of DDR3, 1333. For our CPU, we have an i5-2320. Huh. I thought this was 4th gen. I guess I was wrong on that one. That's a really weak CPU. The date and time is correct. That's good. Advanced. Nothing there. CPU. Nothing there. Integrated device. So it says primary display, IGVX, or discrete. Let's switch this to discrete. Let's hit F10, save. So we still boot up. So let's go ahead, let's pop in a graphics card. GT 1030, check. Let's pop this in here. Very nice. Tuck you right down there. Right. Let's pop in HDMI. Okay. Plug it back in. Fire up. Come on, little buddy. Come on. You'll definitely like that graphics card. Hey, well, look at that. I think this is the issue I ran into last time. Let's hit F2 setup. Yeah, it's not doing anything when you put a graphics card in. Which the good news is that 6500 XT might work. The bad news is something might be wrong here. Let's try it again one more time. F2. F2, 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 F2. I mean, it's doing the little clicky clicky. Yeah, I'm not liking this. It's been stuck here. No signs of extraterrestrial life. Ooh. Are you trying to tell us something? Come on, little buddy. Nothing. Let's try the F2 again. The little homie doesn't seem to want to, come back to us when we add a graphics card. Interesting. So I know the GT 1030 works. I use that thing like crazy to test everything and anything. But the Alien doesn't like it. Now I do remember with 2nd gen it was finicky, at least with the Dells. I don't remember if all 2nd gens were like that, but I do remember 2nd gen being finicky with graphics cards. Sometimes you can do a BIOS update. Maybe this computer is too old for a graphics card. Not sure. I want to try something. So this is my thought. What if this riser card is bad? I remember many years ago, I did work on one of these PCs, not the one I owned, and I did have a bad riser card, but it gave me no display. So what if this riser card is, bad? So let's take out the 1030 and we're gonna disassemble it from here. Let's see if we can, no, it won't fit. Maybe a riser card. Now I do have these, and these do work. They've been tested. I mean, the only other way to test it would be to take out the motherboard. Well, dadgummit. I got a fan header in the way. All right, let's see. Unplug that, which that should be okay. It's not touching any of the pins, so we're good. Let's pop you in. sketchy, but it should work. It's not touching anything. So let's fire her up. Oh yeah, that part. You need power. Looks like it's doing the same thing. Yeah, it just gets stuck there. All right, so that's not gonna work. Let's see. It's doing the same thing with this riser card as it's doing with that riser card. So we can eliminate this variable. Maybe something on the board. But let me see, I got some old graphics cards. Let's see what I can find. I can't believe I have this, but I do have this. I actually have a 750 Ti, which is pretty awesome. And it's awesome in the sense that these computers typically shipped with a 6 series or a 7 series. I know this one works. She's a little dirty. Does this one require supplemental power? No, this one does not. That's even more better. Let's plug in this header back in. All right, there you go. Let's throw this guy back in. All right, everything's plugged in, doesn't require power. So let's do this, give it power, HDMI port, hit the power button. Still doing the same thing. So the variable is, don't tease me with that beep. Still not doing anything. So the problem could be something on the board, CPU. All right, let's think about this. All right, so she's still not doing anything. Now we got a black screen. Unplug the power, make sure we're discharged, and let's take a look at the CPU. So now this one has an i5 2nd gen. I thought this was the 4th gen one, which is, all right, it is what it is. So what I'm gonna do is throw in a better CPU. And this is where hoarding pays off. I have an i7-3770. Don't remember where I got it from, but I have it. Definitely would be a lot better than that i5 2nd gen. But I'm thinking maybe we swap this CPU out and it might do something different. Plus, you know, this is a perfect chance to look at old thermal paste, which is not terrible. I thought it'd be a lot more dried up and worse. So maybe this thing was like worked on, or maybe it was downgraded. I'm not sure. Now the one I had years ago was the i5 or the i7 4th gen. And that thing was pretty sweet. But then again, that was years and years ago. Let's take a look at the bottom. Yeah, she's definitely an i5 2320. Now one interesting thing I see, let me see if I can zoom you in. It's like a piece of thermal paste covering one of those pins. So we definitely need to get that out as gently as we can. It's loose, so I think we might be able just to take a air blower and just blow it. Now, could that have been the issue? I mean, thermal paste affecting the pins is definitely, you know, not ideal, or what you don't want to have, but who knows? Let's just double check. Everything looks good. I don't see any bent pins. Could it be that simple? Maybe. Now, I'm just gonna run this like this. Yes, I know we should use fresh thermal paste, but there's two things, folks. Number one, I don't know if this CPU works. I'm being honest with you. I don't think I ever tested it. So that part. And number two, we're just trying to see if that's the issue with our graphics card. Now, if it does work, obviously we'll put some fresh thermal paste in there. And you know, we'll give this thing some good love. We'll take care of it. We're still gonna run the 750 Ti because we have no change, and I do know that graphics card works. So let's give it power. Okay, there we go. Come to life, buddy. Come on. Maybe that CPU doesn't work. I really hope it works. I think I found it in a box. All right, let's turn her off. Turn her back on. Come on, give me a screen. Let's try the onboard. No signal there. Okay, so because I don't know if that CPU works or not, let's pop in the other one and see what happens. And this is why I didn't put thermal paste on it. And we're only would have been firing it up for less than a minute just to see if we got a display. But well, let's take a look at this, make sure we ain't got no junk on the bottom, which the bottom looks good. The pins look good too. All right, everything's looking good. Pop this thing back in, give it some power, make sure that's in, hit the power button. Now we got a display, but it's doing the same thing as before. So I'm gonna tinker with this off camera. We'll be back. Spent a bunch of time off camera tinkering, swapping CPUs, and well, this is what I got. Number one, I don't think that i7-3770 is bad. Is that the CPU right there? No, that's not it. Where'd it go? Well, daggone, did I lose it already? Nope, she over here. But I don't think she's bad. And the reason why I don't think she's bad is because I popped in an i3-3220 and it did the same thing. So the chance of two dead 3rd gen CPUs, not likely. The i5-2400 works. i5 2nd gens, or just 2nd gen in general, just seems to work with this. It does not want to take 3rd gens for whatever reason. But even changing the CPU, I tried the graphics card and yeah, we're back to the same thing. So what I'm thinking, I'm gonna try to see if there's a BIOS update. It's hard to find BIOS updates on this old stuff, but at this point, that seems to be my only option. I mean, but I am gonna be doing a bunch of work off camera. Well, research off camera. So the only other option that I could think of is to possibly try to see if I could figure out a BIOS update, which would probably involve me installing a copy of Windows or Linux, we'll see, and then take it from there. But it's kind of a bummer because I really thought this was the 4th gen, which is not. We have this issue, but on the plus side, I'm very confident that this graphics card works and there's nothing wrong with it. We'll test that in a little bit, but let me do some homework, try to see the best way to update this if I can find it, and we'll be back. We've got updates, and it's been an ordeal. So you ever wonder if you could run Windows 11 on an i5 2nd gen? Well, yes, you can. So I tried using FreeDOS to update the BIOS. That wouldn't work. Did the MS-DOS one, did not work. And yeah, for some reason, it just does not want to work with this. I've done it before. It is what it is. Tried using Hiren's boot CD. That didn't work. So then I decided to install Windows 11. And you might be saying, why install Windows 11? Well, because that's the only USB that I had lying around. And I really didn't feel like trying to hunt down a Windows 7 or 10 version. So yes, Windows 11 works on a i5 2nd gen. Good to know. But then running into issues, I downloaded the BIOS, which was A07, and it won't let you update it because you have to download A06. And here we are. So we're gonna update to A06 first, and we're gonna see if this works. Now the goal is to update the BIOS to A06, A07, hoping that with these newer updates that maybe we can use i7 3rd gen, and maybe we might be able to use a graphics card. Maybe the BIOS got borked on it and that's what's going on, or maybe the PCIe is just damaged or not working. I'm really hoping it's not that. Updating the BIOS is kind of my Hail Mary, so I'm gonna let this thing update, then update to A07, and when we come back, we'll see if that works. I'm hoping. So I'm updating the BIOS and it's making this sound. Kind of makes me nervous. Not sure what it's doing. I got a blank screen. So we're just gonna leave it alone for a while, ignore it, walk away, come back, and pray I didn't break this computer. Update. I walked away, it's been about 10 minutes, and now she is off. Haven't turned it on yet. I know it's been 10 minutes because I walked away, had a snack, and watched a YouTube video. So, not sure what happened. It was green. Let's power it on and see what it does or does not. Folks, this is not good. Definitely not good. All right, I'm gonna power it off. Hold the power button to discharge anything, if anything. Remove the USB, see what it does. Yeah, this is not looking good. Let me tinker it with off camera and we'll be back. And it's still doing it. And I tried a bunch of different things. And I think this is where we're gonna wrap up this video. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts, tell you what I did, tell you what I think what happened. And yeah, unfortunate. One final thing before we wrap this up, does the graphics card work? So we got the test bench set up, power, HDMI. Let's go ahead and flick the switch, fire up. Make sure that's not in the way. Come on. Yes. Just watch it boot into Windows. Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, obviously we'll have to stress test and I'll probably do a dedicated video on this graphics card, but for the most part, I'm fairly confident the graphics card was never the issue. It's perfectly fine, so there is some happy ending to the story. So let's wrap it up. Kind of unfortunate. It's kind of sad. I was hoping for a full Alien resurrection with upgrades and all that type of good stuff, but it is what it is. So a few things. Number one, I'm sure most people were saying this and thinking this and calling me out on this. It is an R1, not an R2. The R2 is the 4th gen. The R1 is the 2nd and 3rd gen. R2s are a little more desirable. They do perform a lot better, obviously, because it's faster, but the R1 is only 2nd and 3rd gen, so that's unfortunate. It is what it is on that. I was really hoping that, I assumed that it was an R2. I was hoping it was an R2, but yeah, that's the first thing. Number two, this thing had issues from the get-go. In the first video, we had some glitching with the PCIe, and then when you put a graphics card in there, this thing just freezes and locks up. But when I was trying to install Windows 11, and it doesn't matter if it's Windows 11 or not, but when I was trying to install an operating system, sometimes it would read my USB drive and boot, other times it wouldn't. Halfway through the installation, one time it crashed, another time it did install, everything was good, but then it was just randomly crashing, giving me blue screens, and then just freezing and locking up. I did off camera swap out the memory because I got a ton of DDR3 memory. It still did the same thing. One thing that kind of confirms that was an issue with the motherboard is that I did try Hiren's boot CD. I did try that multiple times, and sometimes it was boot into it, sometimes it wouldn't, and then when it boot into it, it would freeze. There was actually a serious issue with this from the get-go. Updating the BIOS was a Hail Mary. I was hoping for the best. I was hoping that updating the BIOS would kind of fix it, bring it around. I have had that luck, but I think in this case, updating the BIOS sent her a little too far, and now this Alien is to infinity and beyond. Kind of unfortunate, but there is some positive. We got a 6500 XT out of it, which is still a decent budget graphics card. What, 60 bucks, 40 to 60 bucks? Might be a little more, I don't know the price. I'll post it on the screen. The DDR3 memory, this is actually pretty good. I don't sell a lot of DDR3 systems. Actually, I hardly sell any. If I do sell them, they're typically cheap Linux PCs, so it is still good to keep around. These HyperX Furies are actually pretty good memory sticks. I have this adapter, which, why not? And that's pretty much it. Everything else on that computer is proprietary, so there's not really much I can do with it. The CPU is an i5 2320 or whatever, 2320 or 2400. I don't know, it's an i5 second gen. Really not worth keeping. Plus I have a bunch of i5 second gen CPUs just lying around somewhere. So yeah, unfortunate on that. Now, as far as what I can do with this, maybe I could get on eBay, find a motherboard, but at this point, I really don't see the value or the worth trying to bring this one back around. If it was the 4th gen model, possibly, I might be able to look online and see if you could actually swap in a 4th gen motherboard for it. I don't know, but I think the other issue is you might run into the fact that you'll lose the USB 3. I think 4th gen has USB 3, so I won't have that, so maybe the case might not be compatible with that. But either way, it's probably gonna be more trouble than it's worth, and it's kind of unfortunate. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it. If I'm being honest with you, I'll probably hold on to it for a little bit, maybe change my mind later, but either way, Alien Resurrection, definitely not happening. The biggest bonus is the graphics card, and sometimes you win some and you lose some. In this case, I won pretty good because all the other parts in that deal worked perfectly, and I was able to make money out of it. This one was kind of for my own little collection. Like I said, I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I did get a cool graphics card out of it. And now that I'm looking at the pile over here, which you might not be able to see on the camera, I do have a Vostro with the i5 9th gen maybe on it. And I think there is storage. Folks, let's take a look, let's take a look. How do we open this up? Is there an easy way to do this? Now, what in the world? There we go. I apologize for the darkness. Well, maybe we could light this thing up. There we go. It's got Ethernet. Like I said, I think it's an i5. Yeah, i5 9th gen, I do remember that. Can I lift this up? I don't remember if I left the SSD in here. I know it had an SSD, I just don't remember if I left it in there. Now, how do you open, what in the world is there? I mean, oh yeah, there is, okay. There's actually an M.2 in here, and this one is 256 gig, which I'm fairly certain this is probably at least a 2 terabyte mechanical drive. I do see 2 sticks of DDR4 memory, possibly 16 gigs or maybe even 32 gigs on this. So that's gonna be a project for another video. There's still more fun stuff to tinker around with and even potential for a little profit on this. Maybe try to slap in a low profile graphics card, cheap office desktop gaming PC. I don't know, let me know in the comments. But either way, a couple extra parts, that was fun. I do enjoy tinkering around with stuff like that. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Do you agree that the motherboard was probably bad on this? What other steps would you have taken to try to diagnose it? And if I would have been able to get this thing working, how well do you think a 2nd gen would have held up in 2026? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.